Hello everyone and welcome to the video Working with Goblins. So a lot of people that I know have been asking about this and how I work with goblins and they're kind of like fey creatures, they're kind of like fairies, but they're also kind of not like fairies. There's very little information about goblins, in the occult world, in the magic world, or even in lore or even mythology. I think I started working with goblins as kind of I wanted my house protected a little bit more. I wanted my ritual space to be protected. I wanted to not have to worry about where I live and maybe have a little bit of help in keeping tabs on what's going on around me. Maybe have, you could say guard dogs in a way, constantly coming into this dimension, popping in, then popping out, making sure everything's okay. But I'll go into that more further on in the video. Today and right now, we're gonna create a Goblin Sigil. So I'm gonna explain the sigil as I create it. Once again, you're not gonna find this sigil in relation to goblins anywhere. Every piece of knowledge about goblins that I'm going to provide to you is just from experience working with them. A lot of the time when you start working with a being or a set of beings with a certain nature of some kind, it just takes a little bit of reaching out. It just takes a little bit of, okay, here, I'm going to give you some food. I'm going to say, hey, can you do this? I'm going to give you this food. The reason why I don't work with fairies is because they get offended very easily and they don't really like taking food payment or any kind of payment for things. They can get insulted if you offer them payment for something. At least that's, that's what I've learned about fairies from other sources and just I never really vibed with fairies in any way. But goblins, they're okay with taking payment in the form of food, as far as my case goes. And they're kind of like a being who's like, okay, if you feed me some, then I'll take care of kind of protecting your house, your ritual space. I will kind of help you keep guard of yourself and alert you to any threats around you, things like that. They're completely okay with the payment of food. I would pay them in coins or money if it was like that, but really they want food offerings from my experience with them. So as I said, I'm going to be creating a sigil right now, a goblin sigil, one that I was inspired to create. It's already in my head, but right now I'm going to put it on a tiny canvas, and it's going to be a focal point, a focus point for working with the goblins further. I created the sigil in my head a little while back, but I haven't really, put it on canvas or put it on parchment or put it on anything where I could really focus on the sigil. So what I have here is I have these makeup crayons, and the funny thing is right now, because I'm getting new floors in my house, new carpet, new floors, I've packed up most of my stuff. So I'm kind of working with like bare bones, and I really don't have the brushes that I need that are packed up. I really don't have the inks and things like that. So I'm kind of working with what I got recently because I don't want to unpack everything while the floors are still being replaced. So what I bought is these makeup crayons from Walmart. Pretty cheap, but they will serve the purpose. These makeup crayons I'll basically be using, I might use a few more than just the black, but mainly the black. So the sigil that I thought up, see, I'm already getting it on myself. I'm already messing up, people. All right, so let's take this out. So here's the sigil. Let me go ahead and write it, and then I'll explain it. Let's try not to break this thing as well, because I feel like it's pretty flimsy. You can use a variety of materials for creating a sigil. Really, I'm just using this as a writing implement, more so than something that is ideal for the situation. So, symmetry and exactness is not something that goblins demand. It's not like sacred geometry in a way, so don't be too concerned about everything being exactly even. And that is the sigil. So On either side of this sigil, I got it on my hands. On either side of this sigil, we have the Perthor rune. It is often called the Rune of Initiation. You know, it's kind of mirrored on both sides. It's often called the Rune of Initiation, and it's basically a cup. The shape is a cup that you tump over, and then you roll the dice. It is also a Rune of Initiation in the sense that there's always going to be that element of taking a leap of faith. And when you have this, let's say, this cup as it resembles, if you round it out and everything, it resembles that leap, that leap of faith, but also that potential for your exterior environment. It allows, especially if it's facing multiple directions, it allows your environment to be very potent for things happening. I wouldn't say it's either positive or negative, but just like goblins aren't positive or negative, this Perthor rune is really a gateway to possibility. Thuricaz is the gateway rune, but this is the possibility rune in my eyes, the Perthor rune. That's from the Elder Futhark alphabet, Viking alphabet, either side Perthor. Now this little spiral here, it can both mean kind of an endless well, but also finding yourself through a journey, and also expansion. So really, that spiral can symbolize a bridging between dimensions. Just imagine a spiral that's going up through dimensions, higher and higher, or lower and lower, and it's making that connection, and it also implies movement, a relation between the dimensions. And since since goblins pop in and out of this dimension, this setup is very potent for them in my eyes. So I kind of wish I had a green makeup thing, but so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use this sigil, and I'm gonna be using this sigil in the future as well. I might even add on to it. I might. I have the urge to draw a bunch of eyes around here because green goblin eyes, but we're gonna leave it as it is for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and open my mind. So I was inspired to name two of the goblins that are usually around me. One is Whizbang and one is Shadow. Kind of goofy, kind of funny names, Whizbang and Shadow, but these are kind of what popped into my head much earlier today as far as naming a couple of goblins that are around me. So let's start off with Whizbang. Whiz. That feels like it should be a Z. Whiz. Bang. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my mind, completely focus on my thoughts. Pushing thoughts out of my mind and allowing other thoughts to come from other sources. So I'm gonna do a little bit of free writing here. Just gonna do a bit. So Whizbang, I'm gonna open my mind and I'm gonna push out all thoughts. Funny is as funny does. Peace in potential. Potential, there we go. Jeez, I cannot spell potential. I'm opening my mind, so I'm kind of pushing out thoughts, so I cannot spell right now, guys. I'm just leaving my mind open, so we'll just go with that. Peace and potential. Not calm. I come quick. And with a whiz, fumble about, then leave with a bang. Man, this crayon stuff is killer. Just smudging all over the place. Then leave with a bang. I'm sorry if it's kind of hard to see with the shade of this green, but I really wanted to use a green pen, so I'm hoping you'll forgive me. Okay, pretty goofy. Not exactly clear. Let's hear something from Shadow now as I open my mind to Shadow. Behind. No. But maybe. Corner of the eye. Always ready to show and to steal. They never see me, but a glimpse of energy. Interesting. So free writing might be a complete mystery to a lot of people. Like, where are these thoughts coming from? You're just making them up? I am actually opening my mind and just taking in whatever words come in. So both of these don't make absolute sense, but we kind of get a feel for Whizbang and Shadow. Neither one really talks about protecting very much. Not right now, but I feel like the nature of goblins kind of lends to this kind of language and communication. So from here on in the video, I'm actually going to go outside and show y'all where the tree is that I offer to goblins beneath. A tree that I actually spray painted. And ever since this tree has been spray painted and I've been offering beneath it, my property has been protected from hail and from a number of other things that could have been big problems. And my ritual space has been pretty well protected. I don't feel like things are entering negatively into it. And I've been followed around and feeling the energy of these beings for months now. The closer I got to the goblins, the more I felt them around me. And, you know, the dead and ghost spirits, they feel a little bit different. They put me a little bit more on edge. The goblins, they just seem like, oh, okay, they're moving about around me. Oh, the corner of my eye behind me. And it's usually, and it's like always when I'm alone. And sometimes they'll move a flap at work, or they'll move something that wasn't touched at all behind me. But it's always slightly. It's always like, hey, we're here, and they're kind of messing with me, but they're not really doing anything bad. They're just like, hey, I'm right behind you, and then they, you know, pop out, and I might see something out of the corner of my eye. I'm guessing Shadow and Whizbang, but mainly Shadow. At any rate, let's go ahead and move forward in the video, and let me show you the tree. Now, I am cooking this both for myself and the goblins. So, I'm going to be offering a portion of this to the goblins beneath the tree. I'm going to be carrying this symbol with me, of course. But, this is a vegan meal, basically. And the goblins don't seem to be too focused on exactly what they're fed, as long as it's something that, you know, is substantial in nutrition and substance. And I think that it actually helps that when you prepare food yourself, any being actually gets more energy transferred to them when it's food that you prepared yourself. Goblins aren't as picky as gods and spirits of other kinds. Goblins are more minor beings, magical beings, but it's always a great addition for them, and they always appreciate it. So whatever you're cooking, you want to offer a bit of it beneath your own tree and before your own sigil, even if you want to use this one. That would be beneficial to your practice and your relationship with the goblins or other beings that you work with. At any rate, I'm preparing this for myself and the goblins, and you will see the offering beneath the tree very soon. Whiz-bang and Shadow, this portion of my dinner is for you, that you may keep my ritual space, my house, and my family safe. Inform me and protect in whatever ways that you can, Whiz-bang and Shadow, and the goblins, yet unnamed. I offer you this food before the tree of offering. We can see that there's already some food there. I have a head of lettuce, and there's been a lot of food offered down there, and my dogs usually leave it alone. Not always, but usually. They try to steer clear, which is a good thing. This is the tree of sacrifice or offering. I call it both in a way. But you can see a spirit that I actually spray painted onto this tree, but the ivy kind of covered it up, to be honest. But I used green, blue, and red to spray paint this really interesting tribal face with many different designs up and down the tree. It's been there for many years. You can still see the spray paint. And the ivy, for some reason, has just loved this tree. Like, the ivy has just really flourished on this tree. Now, there's no other tree in the yard that the ivy has grown this quickly on. There's ivy on other trees, but it seems like there's new and fresh ivy on this one all the time. But yeah, this tree is actually, very close to the porch. So it's easy to set offerings here for goblins and beneath this tree. So here's a side note. Also, if you're offering, you could put the sigil right beneath the tree, or you can just kind of set it on a block like this and just give it a look, give it an acknowledgement, and then do the offering. But here's another note I want to make, just so y'all know. If you're going to offer to a specific being or specific kinds of beings, you kind of want to have a different tree for it. So this is basically the Goblins Tree right here. Now, if I was going to get rid of a food offering that I gave to Kalima or Odin or a different god, goddess, or spirit, I'd go somewhere out in the yard and get rid of that offering beneath a tree. It's different than offering it to nature. You're kind of setting it back into nature. You're sending it back into nature. And then as I dump an offering that's been sitting on one of my shrines for a day, I scoop it out beneath a tree and I say, back to nature, or this offering goes back to nature. And then that's how I dispose of offerings. You don't want to dispose of offerings beneath a tree like this. That's giving it to goblins. Because it's sapped of all its energy, because you offered it to a god, goddess, or spirit. So you want to kind of, put it out into nature, perhaps beneath a non-specific tree, and one that you don't use for things like I just did here. It's a very important tidbit that a lot of people don't know about. At any rate, thank you, Whizbang and Shadow, for all that you do. And I hope to see y'all more in the future. And I hope to see all of you on the channel in the future. Thank you for watching.